Guys, we just go through the news review segment.
Yeah, but
quickly.
before then, we have the Business Olympics coming up. Yes, and it is going to be awesome. It's happening at the Eden Heights Sports Complex. And so for companies who want to have fun, bond, come and experience some camaraderie and the sports, different disciplines, tug of peace or war, basketball, volleyball, all of those things, then come to the Eden High Sports Complex.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
I always try to emphasize that, see, with some of these events, it's not even only about the sporting, activities going to happen on the day, right? It's the networking opportunities, the avenues to close business deals. And for a lot of corporate Ghana, right, Charlie, we sit in the office Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, no breaks, right? So just come and ease up some muscles, right? And try to keep fit. And trust me, you have such an amazing time. So Eden Heights, 28 September, you definitely don't want to miss out on this.
Yeah, and then there's also the CEO's Challenge, my favorite. But to register, call 0558 973 973. 0558 973 973. What is happening in the news, Jude?
Wow, so big news stories this whole weekend, right? So the political activity, the political temperature is still very high. Promises are being made here and there. Yesterday, the National Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, right, urged members to take the campaign messages into the bedroom. So that was an interesting one from Justin Kodua Frimpong. But let me just bring you some headline stories on ChannelOneNews.com, right? Big story here, ChannelOne TV to launch I Stand Against Galamsey campaign. It's happening on Monday, 16th September 2024 at 10 a.m. on ChannelOne TV. Also here, Galamsey ban, Ghanaians are not being fair to us. And this is coming in from the small-scale miners. Their General Secretary, Gordon Ama, was on the big issue yesterday with Selom Adonu. Accountant jailed 2 years for stealing Ghana police church money. Actually, no, make it make sense. Of all the places you could steal.
Ghana Police Church.
Charlie, Ghana Police.
Like, where you're going and you're stealing from them.
No, some people have some different kind of courage.
He has guts. He has guts.
So he's been jailed 2 years for stealing Ghana Police church money. And also here, voters register discrepancies. We didn't insult the NDC. That's coming in from the EC. Judicial Service of Ghana provides update on anti-LGBT bill cases. Let me just do some other stories here. As a Kufado commissions Jamestown Fishing Harbour. Do you see the president, Charlie? He was eating komi keshito kena. Yeah, Charlie.
At the
Jamestown
launch,
Fishing Harbour area. Yeah, Charlie with bako shito on the side. No, Nanado Hadodi. He's a big man. Ekufado sets up a 5-member ministerial committee to engage stakeholders on Galamsey. Also here, vote MPP or there will be no development in Kintampo North. That's coming in from Ken A. Japan. So, these are some of the big stories on ChannelOneNews.com.
All right, on CitiNewsroom.com, you see Mahama promises reliable power system to support 24-hour economy. Other stories you can find on the CitiNewsroom.com. Nagrat urges political parties to prioritize teacher welfare. Akufo-Addo prioritizing election win over Galamsey fight. That's according to Van der Poy. Will petition Bawumia Mahama to openly denounce Galamsey, Kenashigbe. Dr. Tony Obin clarifies allegations of supporting Galamsey, vows to sue instigators. Other stories you can find: Mahama accuses NPP government of eroding investor confidence in energy sector. The fight against Galamsey must be devoid of politics, Alfred Thompson. Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana declares nationwide strike. GAF begins 2024 recruitment, public urge to report fraud. Judicial Service, anti-LGBTQ plus bill cases delayed due to incomplete submissions. And Bawumia will join IEA presidential debate only if Mahama participates. That's according to Miracles.
Yeah, but then it doesn't. It's not. That's not even good faith, right? Because is it to debate Mahama or is to share your ideas to the larger Ghanaian public? So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair to another breath, I'm sure his supporters would tell you that, see, you are going to an election with only one person in mind, right? But from the East, we understood that close to 19 people submitted their presidential forms. So it's going to be an interesting coming
couple of months.
Yeah, ahead. Actually, weeks ahead. So, yeah, Bawumia will join IE presidential debate only if Mahama participates. Yeah.
Graphic.com gh stories there. How Akwemuhima climaxed a 60-year reign. Verdict after 7-month monitoring. Galamsey fight lukewarm. Review free SHS policy for wealthier parents to pay fees. Red alert, 69 policemen commit suicide in 6 years. And then accountant jailed 2 years for stealing Ghana Police Church. Other stories.
The story will bust my mind.
Other stories you'll find. 21,552 male condoms distributed at Oguafe to Afashe. Embrace traditional food as means to preserve our culture, heritage, Ghanaians urged. Jamestown Fishing Harbour inaugurated. Cyber Security Authority licenses service providers and others.
Let me bring viewers this big story on ChannelOne TV, ChannelOneNews.com. ChannelOne TV to launch I Stand Against Galamsey campaign. Story by Kaba Atawoge. So the story reads, the management of ChannelOne TV and Citi FM has announced the launch of a campaign titled I Stand Against Galamsey, aimed at urging the government to take a decisive and sustainable action against illegal mining activities that are destroying the environment and polluting water bodies. The campaign will officially launch on Monday, September 16, and will run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Its primary objective is to amplify the voices of various associations, organizations, and unions calling for an end to the illegal mining menace commonly referred to as Galamsey. Speaking on the Citi Breakfast Show on Friday, September 13, Managing Director of ChannelOne TV and Citi FM, Sawalata Mensah, stated that the campaign would continue until concrete action is taken to combat the destructive practice. The story goes on to say over 50 associations and unions have so far released notices and letters calling for the declaration of a state of emergency and an end to all mining activities until a solution is found. And you see, yet and yet again, you see media taking a very bold and courageous position on the matter, right? It all started, I believe, on Monday. Of course, conversations have been had. In 2016, Citi FM embarked on Stop Galamsey Now campaign, which was massive at the time. The positive resultant effects was clear for everybody to see, where the water bodies was being clear again. You could see that some progress in the fight had been made up until what we've seen recently, right, where, of course, the president will later come and say he's put his presidency on the line. But with this renewed effort, I think it all was started or was triggered after Ghana Water came out to say that, see, in the very near term, people in Cape Coast and other communities may struggle to get water flowing through their pipes. And people are like, see, I've not been having water in 2 weeks. So what was this warning when we're already experiencing it, right? So it was big. But I see, the point is that if leadership is committed to a particular cause, right, it can go all out to get the needed result. I remember listening to Bernard on Monday on the Breakfast Show, and he made a very profound statement urging for the same level of public opposition to the hotel sale saga on Galamsey. And his point was that, see, if organized labor can come together and collectively push a certain cause or belief, then same can be done in the Galamsey fight. And in a matter of moments after going or saying that on radio, about 3 or 4 associations came. Of course, the GMA, Ghana Medical Association, also brought out their letter, which had other health associations like mortuary workers, like accountants at hospitals, like children workers, like the PSG, Pediatric Society of Ghana, all being part of the signings of that letter. And from then till now, so the following day, another 4 or 5, the next day about 5, then I think on Thursday it peaked. We lost count, about 17 associations and unions signing up, voicing their displeasure against Galamsey. And now we are counting 50 to 60 of these associations. So the point is that there's so much you can do as a people, right? And if the thinking is right, if the leadership is right, we'll begin to see the results even earlier than anticipated. So I want to commend management again for this vision and this deep commitments to seeing society and our environment thrive.
I think, and as usual, I always say ChannelOne TV City, we always get results.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, we try.
Yeah, we try, don't we? Yeah, most of
sometimes some way.
What do you mean some way? But we try.
No, it's because you get people passing all sorts of comments, right? And
out
of frustration, you get people saying, yeah, but like the media, what are you guys doing?
We are doing I stand against Galamsey.
Yeah, so that is what I'm saying sometimes, some way. People
will always say
misdirect,
something.
Yeah, people misdirect their anger because like you probably have so much access to like the ruling class or the political class. They expect a lot more engagement, right? But of course, they also don't pay attention to the fact that we are not duty bearers. To an extent, maybe yes, in terms of putting pressure on the system or on government to do the right thing.
And
but
so that's
we
what we are
don't have
with
the final
I stand
call.
Against Galamsey. Of course not. We can only say it, we can only show the pictures, we can only speak about
exactly
it.
That. Yesterday on
and
the
that
Citi
is what
newsroom,
I stand against Galamsey is
all about.
Yeah, it's all about. So
True.
You wouldn't want to miss it. It's going to be live from 10 a.m. on Monday. Don't turn don't tune away from ChannelOne TV. It is going to be amazing. You will see things that will perk your interest, that will anger you, and that will push you to stand with us against Galamsey.
Maybe later on in the show I should share my Isum story.
Yeah, you should share your
I should
Isum
just do
story.
some because it was like I was saying yesterday on the show. All through the week, we've been having very depressing stories. Like as a people, there's not been one major exciting or proud moment really to celebrate, and that led us to the
question. Maybe we should ask the question again today.
Probably.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's your proudest moment as a Ghanaian, right? The current context being that our environment, not too much in a proper shape. The economy, depending on where you belong, you might be feeling a little pinch. The environment is in total degradation, right? We are destroying our environment for just the greed of some selected few. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something going on in your community that makes you so proud to be a Ghanaian. Maybe there's something happening in your local space that's really still bringing this whole pride of nationhood. Maybe you should share it with us and we'll be glad to read it. So the big question is, what's your proudest moment as a Ghanaian? And the number is 0204-447-033.
Right. Let's bring you some other stories on citinewsroom.com.
Okay.
Mahama promises reliable power system to support 24-hour economy policy. A bit of the story reads, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has pledged to deliver a reliable and efficient power system to underpin his proposed 24-hour economy policy if elected. This policy aims to foster an environment where businesses and services remain accessible to consumers around the clock, driving economic growth and enhancing productivity. Speaking to energy sector stakeholders in Accra, Mahama reaffirmed his commitment to expanding clean energy as part of a broader energy transition agenda. He emphasized that his administration would systematically align power generation with forecasted demand and address reserve requirements to ensure a stable, uninterrupted power supply. He's also committed to increasing the share of clean energy in the country's power generation mix to 10% through a combination of fiscal and regulatory incentives. And the story goes on and on and on.
You are in the season of campaign promises.
Promises.
So the member of parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan, he's come under a little pressure after he had promised to not go ahead with the construction of an astroturf in one of these constituencies, and I think the public backlash. But I think the biggest promise this week, or the biggest campaign story, or funniest, one of these three words, was when
votes for Canada, Australia, US.
Yeah, that was also another depressing because
Oh, that wasn't the one you were referring to?
It's one of it. It's one of it. It's one of the list of depressing stories
we heard. Okay.
But I was referring to GFK, the General Secretary of the NPP, where he was urging campaign members, take the message to the bedroom. And if you see the comments on that story, he said, no, the bedroom is not for politics. It's for Charlie. It's for...
You leave it in the living room.
It's for no, Charlie,
you leave
campaign.
The politics in the living room
24 hours economy and Charlie.
Come and disturb your partner. No.
But still on the Galamsey fight, right? Mm-hmm. The small-scale miners are not happy. They are not happy with organized labor for the sort of collective call to ban small-scale mining in the interim. And this story on ChannelOneNews.com. The Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners have bemoaned calls for a ban on all mining activities, stating that Ghanaians have not been fair to them. The small-scale miners deny any culpability in the destruction caused in forest reserves and the pollution of water bodies as a result of illegal mining activities, popularly known as Galamsey. General Secretary of the Miners, Godwin Ama, urged that the call for a total ban on mining activities must be scrutinized thoroughly and understood before any decisive action is taken. Godwin Ama told the host of the Big Issue, Selamadono, on Channel One TV and Citi FM that the fight against Galamsey will be successful if the issues are properly understood. He argued that the small-scale miners are not responsible for the damage happening because the licenses are not issued to their members but large-scale mining companies. But you know what? It's a very difficult position for them, right? Because a lot of the time people confuse Galamsey, illegal mining, and small-scale mining to be the same thing. Whereas in its strict practicability sense, right, they are not. Small-scale miners and some of these community miners are licensed, right? So they are supposed to be regulated. But if you look...
Are they?
That is the big question, right? So if you go back to the Ghana Medical Association release they put out calling for the ban of their activities, they described the small-scale miners as a front for illegal mining. Yeah. And they argue strongly that they've gone to some of these communities and they've done their research. These are medical doctors. They definitely know what they are talking about. So it's a very difficult case of, are we throwing the baby away with the bathwater, right? So because, and the truth would also be that I don't think there's every single small-scale miner out there is an illegal miner, right? But the truth also is that some illegal miners are doing it under the guise of small-scale mining. So it's very difficult, right? Trying to distill the wheat from the chaff, as they say. So it requires a lot, and it's not straightforward. And you listen to Mrekuduka, of course.
They don't even mention him.
Yeah,
I feel like we're fighting, and he's just incentivizing them to fight back. And I don't think that's the way to go.
It was wrong on all fronts.
I don't think that's the way to go.
But in another breath, he makes another important point. If you look at the value chain or the people benefits, right, from small-scale mining, if it's done properly, there are quite a substantial number of people. The association puts it at about 1 million Ghanaians, right? So if we ban this, what are these people going to do? So these are the very important conversations. What's the alternative livelihood support program we have for all of these people? Because you don't want 1 million Ghanaians who are home, restless, not having anything to do, just being there. We already understand that some of these people have arms with them already, right? Now sending them from the mines to our communities or back to our homes, armed, unemployed, idle, that's creating a whole different social problem. So we need a proper stakeholder approach. Academia, media, civil society, everybody come together. Let's share ideas. We've always said, see, those in government can't be the only smartest people, right? And they shouldn't be the ones taking decisions alone on some of these important issues. And I believe if we have that collaborative stakeholder approach with regards to engagements on these Galamsey issues as they come up, it will be better for it as a people. So small-scale miners, we understand your plight, but accept that some of your members have not covered themselves in glory, right, when Galamsey comes up. And for now, maybe, just maybe, we need to put it on hold for a while, try and sort out the issues and come back to it again. So that's a very, very...
I think they should agree to the total ban. Let's streamline their activity.
For some time.
For some time. Let's get our waters back to, you know, the clear nature that they're supposed to be. And then we can figure out a way forward on how they can also... We're not saying that we won't give them their, you know, daily bread, their livelihoods, but for now, let's just ban it.
But ban it for how long? That's the question.
Until our waters run clean.
So
again.
then 1 million Ghanaians don't...
You know, die. Or we don't have to
know,
import
so the point
water.
is that if we ban the activities, right, even temporarily, that's about 1 million Ghanaians who benefit along the line being taken out of having their livelihoods being taken from them. So
that's unfortunate.
Yes, so my point is that we can't let them be home idling, especially when we know that some of these people have weapons with them. So it's more complex than we think it is, right? And that is why people are paid in government to do the hard work. If government was just sit in your house and take a decision anybody else can take,
but
we could all be in government.
It's
Yeah.
frustrating. I don't know if
it's a very difficult position to be in, because he admits that, of course, some of their people, that's Gordon Amma, the small scale.
So he should name and shame, bring them out. But if you're saying you're agreeing to the fact that some of your people are fronting illegal miners and you're not bringing them out, you're not saying it, then it'll affect everybody in the
So
chain.
his point is that government should be able, and to a large extent, that is true. We have a national security.
What if they don't
we have
know?
National security. What intelligence are they conducting?
Tell who is
we have
who.
Ghana police. Easy. People make it look like, oh, Ghana police is powerless. It is never true that these illegal miners are more sophisticated than the Ghana police or our military. They are nowhere close. The only reason why we don't see our security agencies win the fight against illegal mining is because the political will is not there.
Yeah.
It is never true that some 23-year-old somewhere in the swamp for some reason is more sophisticated in security tactics than somebody who's gone through the full rigor of training.
It's because
so
they have arms and ammunition.
It gets really depressing.
They don't even have licenses for, so they just shoot at random or fight at random.
See, the point is that we need, somehow, we need a break, right? And government will need to think through how to cater for these people when they go on a break. People argue that, see, these galamseyers, they've seen money. So it's not some alternative livelihood support that you're coming to do that would sort of like impress them or anything. But the point is that we owe it to our biodiversity, we owe it to our environment, right?
Yeah.
I always say that, see, if you can't manage your environment, you can't manage any other thing. And the state of your environment would reflect in every aspect of your national life, your politics, your economy, your mental well-being, the kind of children you are producing. And that is even directly and indirectly, because we are now understanding that children in Galamsey areas are coming out with all kinds of deformities, right? So the point is that we need a break some way, somehow, and government should think through this critically and deeply and come out with a very proper plan as to how to get out of this mess.
Let me bring us the story before we move on. Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana, they're declaring a nationwide strike, which will start on Monday, September 16, over the government's failure to address their demands for improved working conditions despite numerous protests and negotiations. In a statement signed by National Chairman George Ansong on September 13, the association expressed frustration over the government's inability to fulfill previous agreements, highlighting several reasons. According to them, the government has failed to implement new rates for vehicle maintenance and related allowances despite a prior agreement. The statement also noted that the government has not released Tier 2 deductions to fund managers since January 2024 and has neglected to recalculate interest on Tier 2 pension funds from 2010 to 2016. They are therefore directing all member campuses to adhere strictly to the strike directive, emphasizing that the government's inaction has left them no choice but to take drastic measures. Looming strike initially when I saw the story, I thought that they were also, you know, adding their voice to the
Galamsey.
whole Galamsey band, and then I realized no, they're actually fighting for their
interest.
they're all fighting for
We
their
also have to look for our interest.
fund
too.
management,
Yeah.
money, vehicle allowance, and I think this year they've advocated for these same things. They went to the negotiation table,
like I'm saying,
and then we're back here again. It's like a recycle. I remember my former editor used to tell me that when you write a story, shelve it somewhere because it will come back
to it.
You will come back to that story. You just have to change the dates and maybe some small tweaks here and there. But things in this country just keep happening over again.
It's not even shocking, right? So yeah, everybody's looking for the interest. Thankfully, our interest is Ghana, right? We want to see the country work again. So anyway, that'll be all for our news review segment. Just a quick shout out to my very good friends. Yesterday, I went to play some football, right? I had Charlie. And you should have seen me in my element. Yeah. So yesterday was a great time. Had so much fun with my mates, former schoolmates. It's been over a decade since we left school, so we had this mini reunion football. The organizers were amazing, right? So Joey, Raheem, I don't even want to mention some and leave some out, but like all the guys that put up, Senna, Reginald, Charlie, Nisa, you guys were amazing. We had so much fun.
It's funny how you don't want to mention names and then you end up mentioning some more.
Yeah, because
and
these
then
guys
leaving
were
the
like,
rest out.
No, these guys were central, right? So like St. Teresa's old school union for I think 2011
you're talking about
to 2014.
Yeah,
primary
okay,
and
okay.
like these are the guys you grew up with, right?
Yeah.
No, not Accra.
But it's nice to, you know, have kept your friendship for that long.
Yeah. So it was amazing yesterday spending quality time with friends. Charlie should have seen me on the field. Oh, Charlie.
People.
Guys,